Two long-term partners are suddenly at odds. Washington says India is taking unfair advantage. New Delhi says it is only protecting its national interest. Headlines talk about tariffs, threats, and strong words from leaders who both like to appear tough, but the real story lives under the noise. It lives in tankers crossing oceans, in refineries that never sleep, in warehouse orders, visa lines, and quiet phone calls that never make the evening news. This is the hidden trade war between the United States and India, and tonight we are going to walk through it step by step. First, let's set the stage right. For years, the US and India have grown closer. The United States sees India as a democratic partner in Asia and a counterweight to China. India sees the US as a key source of technology, investment, and defense support. Indian students fill the American universities. American companies design chips, software, and medical tools in Indian cities. The two countries train their militaries together. They sign energy deals and space agreements. On paper, this is a success story. So, what changed? The short answer is price, politics, and pressure. After the war in Ukraine, Russia offered crude oil to anyone willing to buy it at a discount. India, which imports most of its oil, took the deal. Indian refineries turned that crude into gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. Some of that fuel went to the world market, including to countries that had tried to limit Russian exports. That created a loophole. Russia got cash, India got cheap energy and profits. Global traders got fuel in a tight market. In Washington, this deal did not sit well. American officials argued that the point of sanction was to squeeze Russia's revenue, not to give it a new channel. Politicians also looked at inflation at home. Fuel prices were hurting households. It was an election season. Someone had to be blamed. The message to India became simple: stop helping Moscow or face costs. Tariffs are the easiest visible tool. They are blunt, easy to explain, and create a headline. A tariff says, if you won't listen, we will hit your wallet. In New Delhi, the answer was just as simple. India said it cannot risk its energy security. It has to keep fuel prices stable for more than a billion people. It has refineries built to run at scale. It has contracts. It has a duty to keep the economy moving and to protect growth. Indian leaders also dislike being lectured. They say we did not create this war, we did not ask for global energy shock. We are doing what any nation would do: buy low, refine smart, and sell where the market pays. This is more than policy, it is pride. To understand why both sides dig in, we need to see how the oil business actually works. Oil moves by sea in tankers. Insurance firms and banks sign off on those journeys. Traders book routes and hedge prices. Refineries take crude and spill it into useful products, which is gasoline for cars, diesel for trucks, jet fuel for planes, and petrochemical feedstocks for factories. If you can buy crude at a discount and sell products at market prices, you make a lot of money. India did that legally using the open market. Even when Western governments tried to cap Russian prices, oil still found ways to flow. It flowed through new shipping companies, new routes, and different currencies. If dollars were hard to use, middlemen used other currencies. If one port had problems, cargo was transferred at sea and rerouted. This is how global trade behaves when rules are really colliding. Now, add political style to the mix. In America, a tough leader sells himself as a deal maker who punishes those who cheat. Tariffs fit that image. They are visible. They rally certain voters. They also give you leverage for a later win when you claim the other side back down. In India, a strong leader sells himself as a guardian of sovereignty. He cannot look weak in front of domestic audiences. Any sign of bending to pressure looks like a surrender. So both sides perform the strength. Both sides talk to the cameras, and behind the cameras, teams of officials try to find a landing zone that does not look like defeat. What are the real tools each side has? The United States can raise tariffs on steel, aluminium, chemicals, textiles, and more. It can review visas and work permits. It can slow export licenses for sensitive tech. It can squeeze financial channels and insurance. It can limit access to components used in electronics and aerospace. It can respond with its own tariffs. It can direct large state buyers to shift orders away from American suppliers. It can favor rival platforms in defense deals. It can deepen energy ties with Russia and Middle East. It can delay approvals for US tech projects, data centers, and e-commerce plans. Most of all, it can keep sending a message: we are open for business on our terms, and we are the world's best alternative to China for manufacturing. Every lever has a cost. Tariffs hurt some American importers and raise prices for consumers. Delays hurt US companies that invested in India. Hard visas moves anger students and other Indian diaspora in the United States. On the other side, higher tariffs can boost short-term revenue but hurt exports growth. Slow approvals for US firms can punish them to Vietnam, Mexico, or Indonesia. If India leans too far towards Russia, it risks losing cutting edge technology and defense cooperation with the West. Each move must be measured. That is why these fights look hot on TV but often end a quiet compromises. Let's talk about sectors because trade wars are not abstract. They hit real goods and jobs. Start with energy. India needs oil, gas, and coal. It wants to add more solar and wind, but it will take years to change the mix. Cheap crude keeps buses moving and factories running. This is why oil discount matters so much. Next in technology, US companies are moving assembly lines to India to reduce risk in China. Phones, laptops, and components are ramping up. If the relationship sours, those lines do not stop overnight, but future investments get delayed. Then there is defense. India flies Russian origin jets, the S-400 air defense systems, and needs spare parts. It also wants American drones and engines and maritime gear. If Washington wants India to buy more American defense technology, it cannot also act like India has no choices. Partnerships require patience. There is also the China factor. India and China have a tense border. They compete for influence in South Asia, Africa, and the Indian Ocean. The United States also wants India's strong balance to China. That is a strategic goal that does not change with one tariff list. If Washington pushes too hard, it risks pushing India towards a temporary thaw with China or towards deeper ties with Russia. That would defeat the whole point. So, even when the rhetoric sounds loud, the strategic beneath it is cautious. Let us pause and ask a simple question. Why do both sides tolerate this plan? Because each believes the other needs them more. The United States believes India needs access to American technology, finance, and the US market. India believes America needs India to balance China and keep supply chains diverse. Both are right. This is why the argument is intense but not terminal. Now think about how this plays during elections. An America showing toughness on trade can be popular in swing states. It signals protection of jobs, it fills airtime. In India, showing independence makes headlines and energizes supporters. When two leaders who prize image clash, the stage lights get brighter. Yet even then, many solutions are possible without a public climb down. A government can quietly adjust a tariff list. It can grant waivers, it can change custom codes, it can also more, allow more time to meet a rule. It can announce a joint working group and say progress is being made. Both sides claim victory. The head goes down and business continues. Let's walk through the possible outcome in plain language. Scenario 1: a face saving compromise. The US keeps some tariffs for political reasons but creates favors for key Indian exports. India signals small reductions in Russian crude purchases or promises more transparency. It also agrees to buy more US energy, aircraft, or farm to balance the optics. Both sides say they won. Scenario 2, a phased deal. Officials agree on a timeline. India gradually shifts some imports. The US gradually reduces or freezes tariffs. Companies get time to adapt. Scenario 3, escalation. Tariffs expand. India retaliates. Visas tighten. Approvals slow. Investment pauses. Both sides feel pain. Markets react. Pressure rises to de escalate. Scenario 4, side deals. Two governments announce unrelated wins: semiconductor investments, a defense co production pact, a clean energy fund. These are traded for softer positions on the main dispute. The public sees progress even if the core issue is only half solved. Scenario 5, WTO litigation and long delays. Each side files a case, nothing changes quickly, but the issue moves from politics to process. Which path is most likely? History suggests the first two. US India story is bigger than one set of tariffs. Security cooperation, technology transfers, and supply chain planning have momentum. Companies on both sides are invested. Universities, labs, and startups are linked. It is easier to claim a partial win than to tear years of work. While we wait to see which path they choose, we can track a few clues. Watch officials' readouts after high level calls. If they use soft words like constructive and forward looking, the temperature is cooling. Watch oil import patterns and refinery runs. If India reduces purchases from Russia slightly while increasing buys from other suppliers, that is a signal. Watch big commercial announcements. If a major American tech or energy company expands in India during the dispute, this is a sign both sides expect a resolution. Watch the visa pipeline for students and skilled workers. If approvals stabilize, the system is adapting. Watch defense news. If engine deals, drone sales, and co production projects move forward, strategic ties are still on track. Now let's zoom into the refinery story again, because the puzzle piece matters more than any speech. Indian refineries are world class. They can process different grades of crude. They are located near ports and linked to rail and road networks. When a refinery buys discounted crude, it does not put a Russia on label on the diesel it sells. It sells a product that meets standards. Traders buy it because they need supply. Ships carry it where the prices are right. Investment governments want to stop this. If they want to stop this, they must either accept higher fuel prices or design rules that target money flows, not just cargo. This is hard and it can backfire. If rules are too strict, supply falls and prices jump, which angers voters. If rules are too loose, Russia keeps earning. This is the balance every policymaker is trying to manage. Meanwhile, India argues that it has increased purchases from the US too, especially liquefied natural gas and some grades of crude. So the relationship is not one sided. It also points to its growing role in global manufacturing. Companies moving out of China want a stable, large market with a skilled workforce. India offers that. The government says, work with us, not against us. We can help diversify your supply chains. We can help build resilience. That message lands with many boardrooms. There is also a people story. Millions of families connect the two countries. They run small businesses, manage hospitals, tech at universities, write code, and serve in local governments. The policy shock felt by exporters or students does not stay online. It affects real lives. Lawmakers hear from them. That is another reason disputes tend to cool down after the first wave of headlines. What about Russia in all this? Moscow benefits when India buys crude and when the world is divided on sanctions. But Russia also knows India does not want to be dependent. India wants options. It wants to buy energy from wherever it can buy from on good terms. It wants to produce more at home. It wants to sell to everyone. It is not friendship or hostility, it is strategy. India's guiding idea is strategic autonomy. It will not join a camp that limits its choices. The United States knows this. So the real game is not to force India to choose, but to make the US partnership so valuable that India naturally leans west when it matters. Now think about the leaders themselves. Strong leaders do not like to look weak, but strong leaders also like wins they can show to the public. A partial deal that protects jobs, lowers prices, or brings an investment headline can be sold as a victory. A photo op with a signing ceremony can close a wound. Both sides know how to do this. They have done it before. They will likely do it again. If you are a viewer trying to make sense of this, here's a simple way to read the situation. When you see a loud threat, look at the quiet offers behind it. When you see a tariff list, look at the waivers that follow. When you hear about unfair behavior, ask the accusing side wants in return for stopping the pressure. Trade fights are not morality plays, they are negotiation tools. The goal is not to punish forever. The goal is to get better terms. Does that mean nothing serious is happening? No. There is a real risk. If the argument drags on, companies delay investments, supply chain remains fragile, students and skilled workers get nervous. Small exporters on both sides lose orders they cannot easily replace. If the argument turns personal, it blows up on social media and hardens public opinion. That makes compromises harder. And if a second crisis hits at the same time, say a new flare up in the Middle East or the South China Sea, governments have less bandwidth to manage both. This is why smart diplomats try to close open files before another one opens up. There is an old saying in trade politics, if you want to understand the policy, follow the price. Right now, the price of crude, the price of diesel, the price of votes are the three numbers to watch. Cheap oil keeps India firm. Expensive fuel makes US leaders angry. Election math pushes both towards simple stories. But after the votes are counted, math returns. Factories need parts, students need visas, ships need insurance, planes need fuel. Step by step, interests pull the two sides back to the table. Where does this leave us tonight? It leaves us in a paradox. The US and India are closer than ever on security and technology, but they are arguing loudly on trade and energy. Both wants to look strong, but both need each other. Both talk about values, but both are guided by interests. The hidden trade war is not about the shout who shouts the loudest. It is about who can quietly design a deal that saves face and protects core goals. If you strip away the speeches, the likely path is clear. There will be an announcement of progress, there will be a task force, there will be tariffs, lines adjusted, a few waivers granted, and a few purchases redirected. There will be new investments to change the story. There will be a promise to keep talking. The camera flashes, the market moves, and the relationship continues. Not perfect, but still vital for both sides. Before we close, let me leave you with a simple thought. A trade war is not a war, it is a test of leverage and patience. The side that wins is usually the side that knows exactly what it needs, what it can give up, and when to stop talking. Right now, both Washington and New Delhi are mapping those lines. They are watching prices, polls, and partners. They're trying to reach each other's red lines without pushing too far. It is messy, it is noisy, it is also normal. This is how big players bargain in a world where supply chains are strategic as aircraft carriers. In the days ahead, follow the signals we discuss. Watch the oil flows, watch the visa rules, watch the big company announcements. When you see movements there, you will know the headlines are about to soften. And when they do, remember this moment. The hidden trade war was taught as a simpler lesson. Strength in public is part theater, but strength in private is a spreadsheet. The numbers decide. The numbers always decide. In our next video, we'll go deep into the money trail behind India's energy play. What will and how the discounted barrel turns its products on the world market, and why India calls this survival, why America calls it pressure, and how both can still walk away with a deal. Stay with us, and we'll keep following the story where it actually lives, in the quiet moves that shape the world.